Hello, and welcome back to our course. In today's lesson, we will explore techniques for clearly presenting numerical data in your business presentations. This is a crucial skill for conveying information accurately to international audiences. Numbers provide concrete evidence that supports your key points and builds credibility with your audience. However, numerical information can be challenging to process, especially for non-native English speakers. When presenting data, remember to speak slowly and clearly. Emphasize important figures, use visual aids to reinforce verbal information, and check for understanding with your audience. Effective numerical presentations combine clear verbal communication with a strong visual representation of data. When expressing numbers, there are specific rules to follow. For percentages, always say the number followed by percent. For example, you would say 70% of female shoppers reacted positively to our special offers. For fractions, you say the top number, the numerator, followed by the bottom number, the denominator. For instance, 1/2 is said as half or a half. 1/3 is a third or 1/3. And for 3/4, you would say 3/4. A good example is 3/4 of respondents like the new products. Working with decimals also has key rules. You should say the number before the decimal point, then say the word point. After the decimal point, you say each digit individually. You can also use O for a 0 in a decimal. For example, 46.768 is 46.768, while 46.760 is 46.760. You can say 0.5 as either 0.5 or simply 0.5. When talking about money, it is important to be clear and concise. For dollars and cents, you can say $35.60 or $35.60 for $35.60. For even amounts like $50, you would just say $50. The same rules apply to euros and cents. For other currencies, such as 1,000 yen, you would say 1,000 yen or £25.50 for £25.50. Sometimes precision isn't necessary, and it is helpful to use approximations. You can use phrases like around 500 people, about 50%, or nearly all of our customers. You can also use roughly or approximately for numbers like 1,000 or 25%. For large numbers, you would say 3 million instead of 3 millions. When using a currency, you would say $3 million instead of $3 million. For 2,500,000,000, you would say 2.5 billion. When expressing years, you say 1984 for 1984. You can say 2008 as 2008 or 2008. For dates, May 7th can be said as May 7th or the 7th of May. The US format is typically month/day/year. When discussing time, you can say 9:30 as 9:30 or 9:30. For business presentations, it is important to be specific about the time frame, such as saying, sales increased by 15% from January to March 2023. When comparing numbers, you should always clarify whether you are talking about absolute or percentage changes. For example, a 5 percentage point increase is different from a 5% increase. To express increases, you can say sales increased by 20%. To express decreases, you could say costs decreased by 15%. You can also say customer satisfaction improved by 15 percentage points, or production time was reduced by 1/3. To show a significant change, you could say the number of users doubled in the last quarter. Visualizing your numbers is key to making them digestible for your audience. You should choose the right chart based on your data. Line charts are for trends over time, bar charts are for comparisons, pie charts are for parts of a whole, and tables are for precise figures. To simplify complex data, you can round numbers when exact precision isn't necessary. Use visual analogies to illustrate scale, and break large figures into smaller chunks. To highlight key insights, use color to emphasize critical figures, create callouts for significant data points, and verbally reinforce the most important statistics. Your audience will likely only remember 2 to 3 key numbers from your entire presentation, so choose these strategically and emphasize them throughout. To conclude, here are some key takeaways for mastering numbers in your presentations. First, limit yourself to 3 main numerical points per presentation to avoid overwhelming your audience. Second, using both verbal and visual representations of numbers can double your audience's retention of the information. And third, Always practice saying complex numbers aloud before your presentation to ensure a confident delivery. In our next session, we will discuss how to effectively answer questions about numerical data during the Q&A portion of your presentation. Thank you for your attention today.